Welcome back. Today we bring you another inspiring tale. Without further delay, let's dive right in. There are moments in a man's life when a single decision, though quiet, almost invisible at the time, plants the seed for an empire. One such moment came in the crowded trading hall of Karachi in the 1970s, with a name whispered among brokers and investors. A name that would one day become synonymous with Pakistan's financial strength, Arif Habib. But to understand how this young man rose from a modest salary of 60 rupees to becoming the architect of one of Pakistan's largest business groups, one must look both before and beyond him, at migrations, crises, and bold decisions that defied the odds. Mohammed Arif Habib was born in 1953 in Karachi into a Memon family that had once lived in Banfa, Gujarat. The family's life in India had been comfortable. They owned properties and ran a flourishing tea venture. But all of it was left behind in 1947. Partition redrew borders mercilessly, and like countless others, his family abandoned everything to restart in a new homeland, Pakistan. Karachi became the soil on which their uprooted lives had to grow again. For young Arif, this new life was not about abundance, but about resilience. With 9 siblings under one roof, frugality and determination naturally became part of his upbringing. He did not complete his education beyond the 10th grade, but he carried something deeper than lessons from books, an instinct sharpened by observation, an eye that could see value where others saw chaos. By 1970, when 2 of his brothers acquired a membership at the Karachi Stock Exchange, Arif, just 17, stepped into a world that seemed overwhelming for someone his age. The trading hall was a buzzing hive of hurried deals, raised voices, and eyes locked on chalkboards filled with numbers. For his work, he earned only 60 rupees a month. Yet what many dismissed as clerical labor, Arif treated as a masterclass. He immersed himself in learning. How shares moved, how sentiments shifted markets, how patience carved profit out of panic. Day by day, he studied company reports, learned the psychology of traders, and caught patterns in the chaos of stocks. The traders noticed him, this quiet, dedicated young man who seemed more intent on learning than earning. Over time, the boy no one initially took seriously would become one of the exchange's most respected figures. Years passed, and Arif Habib's reputation rose steadily. In 1992, recognition of his expertise reached a peak. He was elected president of the Karachi Stock Exchange. This was not merely an honorary post. Under his leadership, the exchange embraced computerization, replacing outdated manual systems. For a developing country, this was bold modernization, and it placed Pakistan's stock market on par with emerging financial hubs. Habib was re-elected 5 more times as president, proof of the trust he commanded. History often tests true leaders during crises. In 1998, Pakistan conducted nuclear tests, and the world responded with harsh economic sanctions. Markets crashed as uncertainty gripped the nation. Investors fled the exchange, dumping their shares at desperate prices. Amidst this chaos, Arif Habib did the opposite. He began buying, not recklessly, but with conviction that the market would recover. To most people, it looked like financial suicide, but when the market rebounded, his foresight transformed perception. Arif was no longer just a skilled broker. He was a visionary who thrived where others faltered. At the dawn of the new century, Habib's ambitions reached beyond the trading floor. In 2000, he founded Pakistan's second asset management company, which today oversees more than $430 million in assets. The timing was ideal. Pakistan had embraced privatization, and state-run firms were being opened for private investment. Habib seized the opportunity, buying into fertilizer, steel, cement, and even banks. Each decision diversified his portfolio, reducing dependence on a single sector while strengthening his group's presence in Pakistan's economy. Among these ventures stood Arif Habib Commodities, a company that became one of Pakistan's leading entities in global commodities trading. Established in 1973, but expanding forcefully thereafter, it positioned itself as a one-stop destination for corporations, governments, and high-net-worth individuals seeking brokerage, investment, and portfolio management services. Its presence at the Karachi Stock Exchange, combined with strong research and advisory capabilities, made it an industry leader, eventually earning it a spot among the top 25 companies of the Pakistan Stock Exchange. But fortune never climbs in a straight line. The global financial crisis of 2007-2008 shook Pakistan's markets as hard as any in the world. Regulatory restrictions froze trading, defaults swept across brokers, and in months the KSE 100 index plummeted 48%. Once again, Habib watched his empire tested. Many wondered if his group would collapse under immense pressure. Yet somehow he steadied the ship. Through calculated restructuring, patience, and strategic realignments, his businesses withstood the crash. And when corporate earnings improved afterwards, he emerged scarred, but not swallowed. Arif Habib's stature extended far beyond his own companies. He was a founding member of the Central Depository Company of Pakistan, ensuring smoother and more secure handling of share transactions. He served on the Privatization Commission, the Board of Investment, and critical finance committees, shaping the country's economic policies. These positions were not ceremonial, but impactful, embedding his imprint on Pakistan's evolving financial architecture. Simultaneously, his holding entity, Arif Habib Limited, AHL, became one of the strongest arms of his corporation, spanning fertilizers, banking, industrial metals, construction materials, dairy, and energy. AHL amplified the group's reach. Awards from CFA Society Pakistan, Finance Asia, and Asia Money further immortalized its standing. Behind each recognition lay years of disciplined research, transparency, and excellence. For most entrepreneurs, surviving partition, market crashes, and global crises might have been enough. But for Arif Habib, challenges became the very fuel of growth. His name today symbolizes financial expertise in Pakistan, and his companies reflect a philosophy of turning volatility into opportunity. Where traders once scoffed at the boy earning 60 rupees, now governments, corporations, and institutions seek his counsel. His story is not simply about numbers or portfolios. It is about resilience passed from a family uprooted in 1947, about courage shown in collapsing markets, about a vision that extended beyond the immediate trade to the larger picture of Pakistan's economic progress. Even as Arif Habib Commodities expands its influence globally, the quiet determination of the young man in the Karachi trading hall lingers as its foundation. At the heart of it all stands a paradox. A man who left school after the 10th grade, but taught generations of investors lessons no textbook could provide. And somewhere in that paradox lies a secret that makes his story unforgettable.